So let's look at variables. When we create variables, we can create them two different ways. We can create them inside each of the functions, just right there. These will be local variables, or we can create globals here just by double-clicking and creating them, or we can create local variables inside our main program. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to click on variables there. We're going to choose int, which is an integer. It's going to be just good enough for what we need. And then our name is going to be bumper. We'll start with our value 0. And there it is. It's in there. You don't have to worry about it. You can actually see it if you click on Window, Block and See Programming. You can see it created it in the beginning. And it's got all the information that we already have our previous code. So we have bumper equals 0. And what we've done is we have a bumper and we've plugged it into digital port number 1. Digital port number 1. If I go to my online window, make sure that our robot is turned on, I enable digital port 1 right there. Right now it's a 1 because I have not pressed it, but when I press it, it turns to 0. Unpressed, pressed, unpressed, pressed. And so that lets us know if I want it to trigger whenever I press it down, I need to make sure that it says 0 on there. You make sure it says 0 on there for my code. Now, because we're adding a bumper, we need to make sure it's always checking for that bumper. And so what we need to do is we need to put all of this inside of a while loop. So we're going to have a while loop, and we want this loop to always be going on, always checking. So we're going to press while 1, press OK. And we're going to move our information, our code, inside of there eventually. Now, we don't need this wait for safety anymore because we've added the button. The button's going to be our safety. So we're going to delete that. And then we use an if statement. And we're going to say if the bumper, if you remember from the online window, the value we're looking for is when we press it, which is 0. So when the bumper is pressed down, I'm going to close, just go back to blocks so you can see the comment. When the bumper is pressed down, this is the code that we want it to do. And we want it to run forward. To stop, we go, I used Shift. So I clicked on the first one, held down Shift, click on the last one, it selects all of those. I copy, I'll cut, and then I'll paste those there. Now this is going to go really well. It's going to keep on going through. If bumper equals 0, no problem at all. The thing is that we don't actually check what the bumper's state is. And we do that by clicking on input. So on inputs, we have our bumper switch, and we're going to drag it inside of our loop so it's always checking. Again, our digital input, our bumper is plugged into 1, so I click 1. Retrieve to, basically, where do I want to save that information? I want to save that information to my bumper. Drop down arrow, find that variable, click on it, and press OK. And then now we have our while loop. It's always going to check if our bumper has been pressed. It's like, have we pressed it? Have we pressed it? Have we pressed it? Have we pressed it? If we press it, then it's going to run this. And that's adding a button to our program for safety and for other possible programming functions that you can think of.